Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is one that feels really close to my heart, and honestly, it's a little vulnerable to share, but we're gonna get into this. We're gonna do it. If you are new here, I have alopecia, and if you live with that too, you already know this isn't just about hair. It's about identity, control, grief, confidence, and the quiet ways it can change how you move through the world, basically. So, for a long time, I thought my experience with alopecia was something that I had to carry alone. Like it was too awkward, too heavy, or too personal to talk about out loud. And then I started meeting other women who shared the same diagnosis. And suddenly I feel like I'm not so isolated anymore. That's why today's conversation matters so much to me. I am sitting down with someone who also lives with alopecia, and we're talking about the things people don't always see, the beginning of it all, the emotional weight, the wigs, the cover ups, and the moments of just basically wanting to disappear, and the moments of taking our power back, including shaving our heads. This isn't a before and after story. This is a real life conversation. There's grief here, there's humor, and there's honesty. And most importantly, there's connection. If you're listening and you've ever felt different in your body or like you had to explain yourself just to exist comfortably, this episode is for you. And if you don't live with alopecia, I hope this gives you a deeper understanding of what it really means to navigate something like this. So let's get into it. All right, guys, we are talking today about alopecia, the emotional side, the wig disasters, and the head shaving moments, everything in between. This isn't just like a highlight reel, this is real life, and it's a conversation I wish I had heard sooner. So let's just get started. Thank you so much for being here today, Elizabeth. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Monica. My name is Elizabeth Sevigny. Most people call me Liz. um, and I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a Christian, and I'm a girl, a woman who struggles with hair loss and alopecia. I'm happy to be here, excited to just share the raw parts of my story. I like to say the good, the bald, and the ugly.
Yes, I love that so much. So before we get started
Yeah.
into the heavy details and everything and your origin story, what's like the most unhinged thing that somebody has said to you about your hair or the lack thereof?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I feel like there's a few things that people have said that have made me like raise my eyebrows. But one that really stands out to me, I remember once I was in the park with my daughter, and this woman just approached me unprompted and had a conversation that I thought was going pretty well. And I was sharing with her um, my plan to go to an interview, and she was like, "Yeah, maybe you wanna cover that up." She worked in the job finding industry or something, and she's like, "Yeah, that might be a helpful tip for you." I'm like,
My gosh.
"That was pretty unhinged, unsolicited," those are just the best.
I don't even think I know how I would respond to that, to be honest with you.
I don't even know how I did, I
I
think I
think
might have just blacked out.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like my face would have just like done some kind of response for me
Yeah,
without actually having to say words at that point. Oh my gosh.
totally,
Well,
totally.
can you tell us a little bit about your origin story? So I did an episode uh a while back about my experience with alopecia and when I first noticed my hair loss, which was in my very early 20s. So
Mhm.
what was your experience like? Like when did you first notice the hair loss? How old were you? Just how did that experience go for you?
Sure, yeah. So, the first time I saw hair loss on myself, I was 12 years old, sitting in math class, running my fingers through my long hair that looks very much like the wig I'm wearing right now, and I just remember feeling like a cold spot in my head. That's what it felt like a cold skin-like spot that was not supposed to be there, and I remember going home, looking in the mirror, and freaking out. Like, "What? Why do I have a bald spot on my head?" Running to my mom and showing her, and she's like, "You know what, Liz? Like, I have experienced that too. It's called alopecia. Let's go to the dermatologist and get you checked out." Sure enough, they're like, "You have very mild alopecia areata," and they put me on some steroid injections, and it grew back quickly, and wasn't something that I really worried about for the next 10 years. Every once in a while, I would get, like, a bald spot here or there
Mhm.
when I was going through maybe a more stressful period of my life, but, as a teenager, there's lots of those, and also, you know, just your body's changing, so it wasn't like I said, it was just something that was more in the back of my mind, and I will say, for those who are listening, because a lot of people, when I share my story, relate to this aspect, but I've had a long history of various different autoimmune type conditions and symptoms that honestly took more of the forefront as I was growing up. So I had like eczema, I've had impetigo, I've had MRSA, I've had severe acne, I've had like basically like the worst case scenario of things that you can imagine skin wise. I feel like I had growing up. And so like the mild hair loss was the least of my worries during
Mhm.
that time period until I turned 22. It was the year I was getting married. Um and my husband, who's originally from Hawaii, moved to New Jersey to be with me, and so we were, like, figuring out life for the first time, and, we had both started new jobs. There was a lot happening, and in the
Mhm.
middle of that, what should have been a very happy and joyous time, my hair just started falling out. So, that's once that part started at 22 years old, it just did not stop, and within a few months, I had maybe like 50% hair loss. Then within the year, like 80% hair loss. And now I'm 25 now, complete hair loss on my scalp and parts of my body. So that's kind of where I'm at now in terms
Yeah.
of the hair loss.
So, when you're saying that, just like the spot, like, I everything you're saying is
Yeah.
so relatable, and it just, like, it makes me feel, like, at home talking to you because I
Mhm.
have the same thing, and it's like the bald spot, like a cold spot, it feels like no hair, like the bottom of your palm is what
Yeah.
I would say that it feels closest to, like and it was kinda the same for me
Mhm.
too, it's just like I freaked out, I was like, "Mom, what's going on?" And the same story, she was like, "Well, your dad had this," like, she was right away, she's like, "I know what that is." I'm like, "What is it?"
Oh,
And it was kinda the same thing, but, like, I'm at the point where I'm at that 80% right now with mine, but I'm too scared to shave it, and I don't know if that's just me, but we'll talk about that later. So, like, when you were going through this, because you said you had a lot of other autoimmune conditions, and I can relate to that too. Eczema and, just a laundry list
yep.
of random things you've never heard of that start happening, and it was kinda the same thing. It was like the hair loss was just like, I'll deal with it, it'll grow back," and same thing, injections and everything, and then until it stops doing that,
Uh-huh.
and you just kind of deal with it. So, like, did you ever feel like your body betrayed you? Was there, like, a moment that you like, I guess when you were getting married, like, was that the moment you realized this wasn't temporary anymore?
I think to answer your question, if I've ever felt like my body has betrayed me, I felt that a lot growing up.
Mhm,
Because of all the things that I listed that I was experiencing, every time something happened, I totally felt like and I'm a Christian, so I can't help but share this, but I felt like, "Oh God, are you punishing me for something I did?" And I had a hard time just reconciling that, even just with my faith, which is a big part of my story,
mhm.
and something I had to figure out. But yeah, I felt that a lot. And there's even a scripture that talks about being perfectly wonderfully made. And I'm like, how can I be perfectly wonderfully made if my body is failing me constantly? And so, yeah, I definitely relate to that. I think when it came to my hair loss specifically, when I was getting married, I felt like, well, this is terrible timing. Like, this is terrible timing. Is
Yeah,
this some kind of cruel joke of okay, this, like I said, should be the happiest time of my life, a time where I want to feel the most beautiful, like a new wife and figuring things out. And it just all stopped. And then when you deal with something like alopecia, it's like everything kind of consumes, at least for me, most of my thoughts were being consumed by that instead of what I felt like I wanted to be focusing on, you know?
Right. Well, especially in that moment too, it's just like you're there's so many things going on. I feel like being
Yeah.
consumed by like just the thought of like the grief and everything that you're going through because it is really emotional and everything. Like the grief of losing your hair and there's like a shame around it almost
Yeah.
and you know, it sounds like you had like this big important moment. Like did you wear a wig to your wedding?
So I had no hair loss at my wedding. It was
Okay.
after, it was like I got married in July of 2022. And then I think by like November, October, November, I started having hair loss. So my wedding pictures, I'm like, I cherish those because those are
Mhm.
really like the last professional photos that I love of me with my bio hair.
Yeah. Oh, I call it bio hair too.
That's the term I picked up. I didn't call it that, and everyone calls it that, so I'm like, gonna
Yeah,
call
I started doing that too, like, when I'd have, like, conversations at work, I'd be like, "Yeah," I'm like, my real hair?" And they're like, "Wait, what? You're wearing a wig?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Um, I feel like gosh, just I can't even imagine, like, how what an emotional roller coaster that must have been through because I know that stress is my trigger. Do you think that was a trigger for you, or what do you think your trigger was, like, in terms
it.
of it just falling out so quickly?
Yeah, I definitely think stress played a big role, although a lot of the things and transitions I was experiencing were amazing and good. Even good things come with their own stress, just the stress of change. I was also on birth control for the first time. So I connect the dots there and I'm like, yeah, maybe that played a role with my hormones. And even though I did bring it up in my doctor's appointments and they were like, no, could not possibly be the birth control. Never. I was like, I'm getting off of this, I think. um,
Yeah,
but so I think that played a role. But yeah, I for sure think that stress is a major trigger for me.
yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned the birth control because I kind of thought that too. So I tried it sucks because there isn't that much research done.
Yeah.
There's like nothing out there. There's nothing that you can really relate to. So I was like, I've tried everything, like everything to see
Yeah.
if my hair would grow back. And then I started thinking the same thing. I'm like, is this hormonal? Because I
Yeah.
was on the birth control for as long as I was. And then when I had gotten off of it, it's when my hair loss like kick started again, which was around COVID time. So I'm like, was this because I got sick? Was it because got birth control? And then if we're going on like the hormonal side of it, when I was pregnant, my hair grew back.
So did mine.
What is that?
So, okay, I love this. I get so excited to talk about this because my daughter is a big motivator for why I'm doing this, why I'm out here, why I'm like loud and proud about losing all my hair. But I was doing research when I found out I was pregnant, which was like a beautiful surprise. Um, and I was like, what's going to happen to me now? Now that I'm pregnant, how does this affect my hair loss? And a lot of the research said that because alopecia is an autoimmune condition and pregnancy is an immunosuppressant, it suppresses your immune system. Naturally, it can kind of like reset your body. So
Okay.
people have shared, I think even the singer Halsey, do
I
you know?
love her.
Okay. She's cool. She does an interview. I think she has, I don't want to get it wrong. I think she has like lupus or something. And she said that when she was pregnant, it was the best she ever felt in her
Mhm.
life because of that correlation as well. So I feel like I experienced that. My hair started to really grow back. But then postpartum, I experienced the postpartum hair
Instantly.
loss and it was just gone. It was more gone than when I started. So
And that's kind of what I'm experiencing too. So I'm about almost a year and a half postpartum right now. And like when I was pregnant, it was growing back. And I was like, this is amazing. Like all of the spots filled in. Like I had peach
Wow.
fuzz everywhere. And I was like, this is great. My hair is finally growing back. Maybe it just restarted something. And I had my son and I was breastfeeding and everything. And for a full year, and it just clumps of hair in my palms, and it's still to this day, the same thing, like, my I have to have, like, something in my shower to prevent it, and I probably wash my bio hair maybe w once, twice a week, if that,
Yeah.
like, because every time I wash it, there's just, like, so much coming out, and yeah, it's just crazy, though, like, the hormone part of it, because I don't know, I feel like I had hope that I was cured almost
Mhm.
until it started falling out again. Let's transition a little bit with the dating part of it. You were already married when your hair started falling out. And the same with me. Like I was in a very long committed relationship, still am. And I feel like I can't even imagine what dating would have been like and intimacy, you know what I mean, with losing your hair. Did you ever like think about that aspect of it?
Like, I guess a new question you have to ask people you're dating is, what are you gonna look like if you go bald? I
Yeah.
I make that joke all the time, and I tell my husband, I'm like, as a joke, I think in the beginning it was more like through tears and boo-hoo-hoo. It's like,
Mhm.
"If you knew this was gonna happen, would you have married me still?" You know, like, it's a huge blow, I think, to or it can be a huge blow to intimacy and to just a connection you have with someone because I felt like I'll speak for myself. For me, hair loss completely turned my life, my identity, who I thought I was, upside down. And I know a lot of people say it's just hair, but
Mhm.
it is a major loss. Like looking in the mirror and not recognizing yourself, I experienced severe depression, a lot of anxiety, body dysmorphia, like all of these mental conditions, the mental state that I was in, it affects your connection with yourself and with who you're with, your partner, someone you're
Mhm.
dating. And I think with hair loss, something that is so shameful can be there's a lot of stigma around it being shameful. And I definitely felt shamed and just embarrassed. I could hardly look at myself in the mirror. How,
Same.
you know, think about bringing someone else into that. If I had a hard time facing myself, like, I can't imagine I went through it. My husband, who I know loves me, I had a hard time even letting him in and seeing my hair loss. And to be honest, I downplayed it for months where he's like, "Let me see what's going on." I notice, he would come for me. I'd be crying, I'd be upset, but I would really downplay the severity of it. Like, I don't want to show you. I'm embarrassed until it reached
Yeah.
the point where I'm like, I think I really need to go to the doctor because it's progressed more than I'm used to, and at that point, it was very severe.
Right. Well, and then going to the doctor though, like,
Going
really
to the
there's
doctor.
nothing that they can do about it at that
Yep.
point, but gosh, it was the same for me though. I ended up doing the exact same thing as just staring at myself in the mirror one day and just tears strolling down my face because I did not recognize this person that I was looking at. I felt disgusting. I was ashamed of how I looked. My self-confidence was just completely gone, and I remember going to the doctor and just, like, bawling my eyes out, and then they were like, "Do you want an antidepressant?" Like, excuse what? Like, you're not hearing me, but it was just so many things, like, the last thing I want is just to be on more medications or try more failed I felt like an experiment,
Totally.
like, every time I went to the doctor, and especially I remember my first time getting the steroid shots, they were like, "Do you mind if everyone else sits in and watches this?"
Ugh,
And at that point, I'm like, I guess if it's for science, sure. But I literally felt like a lab experiment, like, because they had never seen it before. And it's, not so common, but you could never really do much about it. Like, I feel like we had the same experience as far as just comparing ourselves to others and comparing ourselves to our old self. How do you feel that's kind of changed your approach, especially viewing social media and unrealistic beauty standards?
This is such a packed question, but
It
first, let's
really
just
is, just
yeah,
wherever you wanna
yeah,
start unpacking it.
yeah, yeah. Well, let me think about this in terms of my thoughts on hair loss, what I've seen online.
Mhm.
I'll start there. You don't see a lot of it with women. You don't see a
No.
lot of women with hair loss speaking about it openly unless you go searching for it. Now that I'm in the community and, like, posting about my hair loss, I'm seeing so many accounts of women being brave and sharing their stories, which has been amazing and so uplifting and incredible. But typically, the only messages I would see online growing up about baldness is that it's bad. Bald is bad. Bald is ugly. There's literally a meme that's like, "You're so funny. Don't go bald." I don't know if you've seen that, but
No, I
it's
haven't.
just something going around. It's silly and dumb, but whatever. It makes me laugh because 'cause I'm like, "I'm bald. I think I'm pretty funny sometimes." But yeah, so it was, just a lot of negative messages that when I had hair, I didn't even realize I was surrounded by. And then I always thought that women with long, luscious hair, like those videos would always go so viral.
Mhm.
You just see them all over your feed, even currently. So you don't even realize all the messages that you're being surrounded with until you're in a state like that and you can relate. I know for me, it was a moment of being on this side where I'm the one dealing with hair loss. I look around me and I'm like, wait, imagine how many other women are out there looking at these messages, feeling so lonely, even
Mhm.
for decades beyond me. Like, and there are women who've gone before me who have experienced hair loss, and I'm so grateful to see their representation and the things that they've put on. But I also know that there's a lot of women who probably don't see that as much on their feed, and it gets drowned out by, I mean, I hate the internet sometimes. Like, I love it and I hate it. And it can be a great tool to connect people together, but I think it can be a very toxic place.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel like they can hide behind their screens and just do things without maybe thinking about the full effect of how their words might affect other people. It's a tricky balance to find that, especially being someone who's putting out content on the internet. I feel like I see it all.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
absolutely. Well, and it's kind of it's scary too. I think, like, even, like, off social media and just, like, real life, putting yourself out there, experiencing hair loss, and I mean, even just the first time, like, thinking that I didn't look feminine because of what my hair looked like, or if the
Yep.
wind blew, you would
Yeah.
see a bald spot. I'm still grieving the loss of my
Mhm.
thick, pretty, long hair, and, I also feel like this pressure to just look normal, and that's why I wear wigs in
Yep.
public.
Yep. And that's so real. And I am a big believer in not rushing the process. Like, I don't believe in faking it until you make it. I really don't. I feel like it's so important to feel every part of your journey because it will catch up to you eventually, like the faking
Yeah.
it until you make it. I think it's good to put yourself out there and challenge yourself as someone with hair loss, but to be honest with yourself, like, this is hard. I'm putting myself out there and it's hard, not like I'm putting myself out there and this is great. And I don't feel the weight of grief on me. It's like, no, like, it is hard. Like, you, me, we've gone through something really difficult, something we didn't expect, something that we never asked for, that was not our choice, something that's like happening to us against our will.
Mhm.
And that hurts. And it's okay to acknowledge that and feel that. And some days feel okay about it. Some days feel great about it. Some days feel like, I hate this. I'm not happy right now. And I think just being honest with it I think honesty just goes really far in this journey.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think so many of the emotions you just described show up in how we choose to present ourselves in the world. And for a lot of people with alopecia, wigs became a part of that story, whether we want them to be in it or not. So, can we talk about your experience with wigs or cover ups and stuff? Because that's an also very scary emotional experience for your first time. So, can you tell me a little bit about your first wig experience? Was it like funny, awkward, traumatic? How'd it go?
It was funny, awkward, and dramatic. Yep. All of the above. It's funny, I was just looking through my camera roll trying to, like, weed out photos, and I found, like, a photo shoot of me not really a photo shoot, just me in my room taking selfies of my first wig order, and there were these cheap wigs that I found. I think they were, like I bought, like, 3 or 4, and this was let me think back. I hadn't lost all my hair yet, and I was still hoping that it would grow back. But I
Mhm.
was just looking for something just to
Temporary.
see like, I think in the back of my mind, I was like, "This might be something I have to do," but I was still in denial. I
Yeah.
was totally in denial, so I was like, "I'm just gonna
Yeah.
do this for fun." But I
Take
ordered
it for a
the
test drive, right?
Yeah, yeah, just to see what I'd look like, and I had a few emotions. I remember thinking, "This looks better than I expected," because you see wigs also portrayed in
Mhm.
film and costume and things like that, and they can look kinda crazy. But I remember I was like, "Oh, technology has advanced in the wig world. This is cool. This looks cool." But then I put it on my head. I remember it was like a ginger wig I got, like this long ginger wig, this short blonde wig, actually a wig very similar to what I'm wearing now, like a brunette. I think it had
Mhm.
bangs. I put them on and I was just like, something about me likes it a little. Something about me still feels like I don't recognize myself. Like this feels like I'm wearing a costume. I can feel my head sweating under this wig. I can feel
Yeah.
my hair pieces. Like, how do you put this thing on? It's all clunky. Like, and then I felt this overwhelming feeling of like, oh, there's a learning curve with this. How, like, where do I,
Yes.
what do I do? How do I make this even look like it's a part of my head? Where do I turn? Like, and there's no one that looks like me really on the internet that I know even to learn from. Like, and it was that overwhelming feeling. So I remember like taking them off my head, putting them in a bag, and not looking at them for a while after that. But yeah, that was kind of like my first experience, I guess.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that. It was kind of the same thing. I'm like, I kind of like it, but like everyone's going to know that I'm wearing a wig. And just like the learning curve was it was just nuts because the same thing, like, nobody that is looks like me is wearing wigs, like, at least that I know of, but then again, like, a lot of people don't even know at this point that I am wearing a wig, so, you're like, who knows? We could have there could be many more, but just nobody talks about it, and it was the same thing as just like, how do I put on a wig cap? How do I cut the bangs, or do I have to alter this? Because obviously it doesn't fit to the shape of my head, or this is itchy, and like, there was just so many different things. Do you know the shearing scissors hack?
Yeah. I you need if anyone's listening watching this, step 1, buy shearing scissors.
My gosh,
Please.
yes. Like, it's so funny, like, I'll get a new wig and, like, I'll tell my coworkers, I'm like, "I got a new wig, but I gotta de-shed it." Like, I gotta go home and make it better
Yep. Yep.
so I
Yep.
can, like, run my fingers through it, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. And I'm like, here I am going bald. I always make this joke. We joke about it, my husband and I, all the time, about my hair loss now that I'm more comfortable with it to make
Mhm.
light of the situation. But I'm like, I went bald. Do you think there'd be less hair around? Yeah,
Oh my
there's
gosh,
hair
no.
everywhere. He's like,
It's
are you gonna
stuck to
clean up?
everything.
Yeah. He's like, are you gonna clean up the mess that you just made in the bathroom? I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it.
Do you have any, like, funny wig nightmares? Because I
Mm,
can, right off the top of my head, think of a couple hilarious
really?
situations that had happened to me with my wigs. Have you experienced any
My gosh. I
funny
mean,
wig experiences?
so okay, off the top of my head, recently, I'm at a restaurant and my daughter's like pulling my hair off my head in front of everybody, and I'm just like, it's halfway off my head, and I'm thinking, well, hello, restaurant. You now know my my bald life. I guess I've had a few of those moments, but I think generally I've had really good experiences with wigs. I'm a pretty lighthearted, silly person. So if anything, I'm the one just ripping it off. I like the shock value now.
Yes. I remember once we were on a girls' trip and we were up in Traverse City, Michigan, which is like wine country, basically. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've heard of Traverse City. They have like cherry festivals and everything. And there was a bee, okay? And it flew under my wig. And I just like, I immediately just took it and I threw it. And I'm wearing
Insane.
just, like, this bodysuit tank top and heels, and I just ripped my wig off and just ran for my life.
That's a
It was
moment.
like a Jerry Springer episode moment. It was, like, the funniest thing. My coworkers, my friends were like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
that just happened."
Yeah. That is so I think, first of all, you're so brave with the bee. That's a funny story. I think I've had some pretty funny reactions of people who are like, because I started a new job a year ago, no longer at that job because I moved since then. But when I had started, I was like, I need to rip this alopecia band-aid right off because I have a lot of wigs in my collection. They're gonna be seeing me bald with a
Yep.
headscarf with wigs. So let's just I was like, week 1, every day I'm wearing a new wig just to get it out there. And I remember one
I
of my
love
coworkers
that.
was just looking at me. I could just tell. He's like, he thinks like something is different about you. Something and then by the end of the week, he's like, okay, you definitely had different hair yesterday, for sure. It's like, "What's going on?" And it was just a hilarious moment. I was like, kind of what I was going for, just to have opportunities to explain myself. Like, "I have alopecia. Get used to seeing all the versions of me."
I love that. That's something people don't talk about either, 'cause I did the same thing. So I started a new job a few years ago, and it was the same thing, and I was like, "Rip the Band-Aid off. This is my hair today, but tomorrow it's gonna be this length, and then the next day it's gonna be way down here because I have alopecia," and I just wanted everyone to know, like, "Hey, I wear wigs.
Yep,
This is
yep.
who I am. That's why my hair looks different all the time." It's funny because like, some people just, like, like, you say something and, they're just in one ear and out the other. I
Oh, no.
remember one lady came up to me and she was just like, "How did you get what toner do you use for your hair?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I just bought it like this." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Like, it still did not click for her. So I just let it go, and I'm like,
Yep,
"Alright,
yep,
alright."
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Like, it's so funny. There's this it's funny when people ask you like, "Oh, what are you wearing?" I love to thrift, and I'm always like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna tell anyone how good of a bargain this was. But of course, when someone's like, "What are you wearing? That's so pretty. Where'd you get it?" $2 at the thrift store.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. Score. It's the same thing with wigs where someone's like, "I love your hair." "It's a wig, thanks. It's from blah, 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 blah."
I do the exact same thing. Oh my god, thank you. Anytime anyone's like, "Oh, I love your bangs." I'm like, "Thanks, it's fake.
Yeah, yep,
I
yep.
bought it."
I bought
Speaking
it.
of buying it,
Yeah.
that is another thing I wanted to talk about, like, the cost.
Mhm.
I I love to I love bragging about, like, when I get stuff on sale, I'm the same way. I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, $5."
Yep.
But with my wigs, I kinda like bragging about that too because they can either be extremely expensive or they can be very cost efficient. And I feel like the financial, emotional part of wigs for me, I don't feel like it was that hard for me because I feel like I spent less annually than getting my hair done on wigs. Would
Mhm.
you agree?
I have a lot of thoughts about the cost of wigs. I'm like, where
Mhm.
do I start? I guess my blanket answer is it can pretty much be super expensive for you. Like, you can make this a very luxury hair experience era for yourself if you're
Mhm.
dealing with this. Or you can be very affordable about it and still, like me, that's where I was at, have a content wig collection.
Mhm.
Will I feel like I just need to say this because as I've been more public about my story, I do get a lot of messages from women who are also dealing with alopecia related hair loss. But I also get a lot of DMs from people who are going through treatment and who are losing their hair as a result of chemotherapy, who are looking for wig solutions. And my heart just goes out to us, to this community, to especially those who are dealing with a physical illness where it's like confidence and or the hair loss part is only a part of it. Like trying to they're dealing with a life or death diagnosis.
Mhm.
And now on top of this, like in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, and my hair is gonna fall out and I'm worried about that. And like, what do I do? Treatment can be really expensive. So it's like my heart goes out to those who feel like they have to choose basically like, okay, my treatment, but now I have no wig solutions because the wigs that they are offering me in these medical settings can be thousands of dollars. Like I've heard it, and they just don't know where to look for more affordable options. So that's where I feel like a lot of my target audience, I really try to offer really affordable wig and hair loss solutions because the average person does not have thousands of dollars of disposable income, especially when they are going through a medical crisis. Like it's just not, yeah, it kind of can make me a little upset when I think about that. I do feel
Yeah.
like wigs should be more accessible or like you should be able to have like a major insurance subsidized wig solution. That is not a terrible looking wig. I've seen some really crazy things. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent.
No,
Um,
that's fine.
some of my favorite wigs are $6, $11.
Yes. $10.
To be honest with you, like, and I think they look just as, if not better, than like high end wigs.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%,
That is my
100%.
my target. I try to really speak to that. Like, okay, you're because like I said, alopecia can just feel so overwhelming. And then you think about, wait, I have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a wig? Like, no, honey, go on Amazon. Type
Yep.
in brunette
Yes.
with bang. Start with a bang wig,
Yes.
natural hairline.
Yes.
That's what I
I
always say.
am too nervous for front lace. I don't know. I just feel like I am too scared to do the front lace. I don't know why. I think I look okay with bangs. I used to
You
have
look
bangs, like,
amazing.
thank you. I think you look amazing in yours too. Like, literally, it's crazy how, like, the quality and, just the basic Amazon
Amazon,
wig.
40.
Yes. Yeah. We can share links later too.
Yes.
I love that. And, one thing I have noticed is how much pressure comes from outside of us and what we're expected to look like and how comfortable we're supposed to make other people feel. I
Mhm.
kind of feel like. And did you ever feel like your wigs were more about meeting expectations other than like for your own comfort?
Yes. I think especially when I started wearing wigs, my goal was to how do I make it so that people don't know I'm wearing a wig? Like, and I think it was I was like, let me dive into that. Now I'm like, let's think about the why. And I think for me, a lot of times people don't know how to react to hair loss. So I'm like, I
Mhm.
just don't maybe want to have this conversation right now. Or they would say comments that were insensitive, or I was having a hard day and I just wanted to fit in at that point. Fast forward now, I'm like, let the people know what is so wrong about wearing a wig. It's like, I don't know, like when your bra strap is showing a little bit, people are like,
Yeah.
maybe tuck that in. I'm like, what's so hello, I'm a woman. It's
Yeah.
showing a little bit. I feel the same way with hair loss where it is an accessory to me. It is a way that I express myself. I enjoy on a good day when people are like, "Is that a wig?" I'm like, "Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is." And I've gotten some, you get the sympathy stare sometimes, of people. And
Mhm.
there are so many emotions. I'm sure people listening can have their own stories of fitting in. But I'm at a point in my life, especially now as a mother, when you have a child, people go
Nothing
out the
else
window.
matters.
People go out the window. It's like, and why am I doing this for the comfort of other people? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a decision and live my life in a way that's honoring to God, to my family, and honestly, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. We're not living for other people anymore because it's too stressful. And if anything, I'm so grateful. Like, 25 years old, alopecia was rough, but I'm so grateful because it's been the best teacher for me in teaching me how to not care about what people think about me.
Yes.
Like,
I
mm-mm.
completely agree. I feel like it's such a humbling experience, but it's also pretty empowering. I feel like even just wearing my wigs, I feel pretty empowered by it just
Mhm.
because it is me, and I love sharing that I wear wigs.
Yeah.
Like, I love telling people like, "Yep, I'm bald."
Yep.
Who cares? Whatever. And you get to just I don't know. I feel like when I put a wig on, it's like, I gain confidence. I feel like I gain like I'm a different person sometimes. Like, I don't know. I like the way it makes me feel on the inside, and, I love it. I think everyone should wear wigs. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Actually, for my 25th birthday party, we had a wig party and all my friends wore wigs, and you just see it, the confidence. I'm like, "You
Yes.
get it. You get everyone should wear wigs at some point in their life just for fun."
Yeah. Well, so at some point, covering up can start to feel heavier than freeing. And I just want to take just a quick moment to talk about how that feels and what was like that pivotal moment in your life. Did you shave your head or did your hair completely fall out? And how was that experience or what led you to that decision if it was just kind of shaving off the remainder of your hair?
Yeah, so I shaved off my head February 17th, 2024, a few months before giving birth. I won't forget it. It was, like, right before my baby shower, and there was a lot that led up to that moment. At that point, I had, like, 80% hair loss, I think,
Hmm.
and I felt ready. Now, let's go back a year. Like, I still
Okay.
had, like 60% hair loss a year prior, and I did not feel ready, and I was thinking, "Maybe I should shave my head," but as you I just explained, like, it took a year of
Hmm.
wrestling with that, and one thing that it was a conversation I had that revealed to me that I wasn't ready initially. It was with this, woman from my church who was going through chemo treatment. She had lost all of her hair, and I thought, "You know what? Maybe I can get coffee with her and listen to her story and see, like, what she's about, because she seemed so confident without
Hmm.
hair, and I was like, "I want that. I don't feel that, but I want it." And the more I talked to her during our coffee time, and she just described this feeling of, like, when she shaved her head, just feeling totally free, and, like, she was so ready to be, you know, to just shave it all off. I was like, "I'm not relating to anything she's sharing right now." And
Hmm.
I just don't think, like, shaving my head right now would feel against my will. Like, it would feel like it's more for other people, more because I see other people with alopecia doing it, and I want that, but it was a faking it until I make it moment where I was like, "If I'm being honest, I'm just not ready." Like,
Yeah.
these little scraggly pieces on my head might be scraggles to you, but it's, like, all I have left. Like, I feel like I wanna hold on to every strand, and
I'm
so
still there.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then throughout that year, I think it was really getting pregnant, and I went through a lot of healing during my pregnancy emotionally because I kept thinking to myself, I was like, okay, what is the legacy I want to leave my daughter on this era of my life? When we look back and we talk about this time in my life where I'm going through this, like, what are the things I want to tell her? And one thing was, I want to have like photos of myself where I'm smiling and to some degree, like where I'm showing her, like, baby, I went through this really hard thing, but you know, I here's the way that I navigated it with faith and with courage and with strength, because those are the virtues I want to pass on to her too. The more I like worked through that in my own healing journey, I just slowly but surely was reaching a point where I felt more and more ready. And I think that's very unique to everyone's journey. Like, you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. But I remember now, let's flash forward to me shaving my head. My baby shower is coming up, my birth is coming up. I'm thinking about postpartum, like what I want that time to be like. And I'm just thinking, I want to enter this postpartum time just free. And I was feeling like, and I think I'll feel free when I shave my head. And I'm ready. I think I'm gonna feel so beautiful. Like, I started using those words and I was like, I think I'm ready. And I remember telling my husband, who's so supportive, one day I just woke up and like, I think I'm gonna shave my head today. Will you help me? And he's like, yeah, I'll help you. And we just did
Wow.
it just like that. We went to the living room. I have photos and a video of it actually, thinking I would never share it. Thinking it, and now it's many people have seen that video. But Um, so he shaved my head and then he's like, "You do mine now." And he shaved his head with me, and we were both baldies for a little bit together. So that's kind of the story of like what led up to me shaving my head. But the moral is, it just it is so unique to the timing is so unique to you.
Right. Oh, I love that story. Like listening to you talk about that, it feels like more than just hair. It feels like you're like reclaiming something. So how did that moment like change the way that you see yourself now? Like and your sense of identity after shaving it? Like I am so I'm on the fence like you were
Yeah.
talking about. Like I am on the fence and it's like I want to be there. I want to just everything you just said, like, I want that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there, so I'm just curious, like, what changed in that instant?
What changed? I think there was an emotional side of it, like I shared, where and I'll try to describe it. As he's shaving my head, there's parts of me that are I was crying because it's just I can't describe it.
Makes me wanna
It's
cry right now.
like, only if you've been through something like this and have sat
Mhm.
in the chair and had the buzzer to your head and you have flashbacks of, at least for me, it's like my life is flashing before my life. Like, how did I get to this point? Like, I have alopecia. Is this gonna be forever? It's like all these thoughts going through my head. Like,
Yeah.
what is and if I shave it, like the hair that falls on the floor, like alopecia is against your will, like I said, but the shaving part, like that was a choice that I still had. And I felt like I'm doing this. I'm letting this hair go. I felt guilty about it slash empowered. Like it was all these emotions at once. But when the hair finally fell off and I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I like it. That was my first thought was like, this is not bad at all. I like it. My hair feels so like smooth and free and I feel the air the airflow is like really clear. Um and I was happy. I think I remember smiling for the rest of the day, feeling pretty. That was like the first time I felt pretty without anything on, like just looking in the mirror. So there was that. Then I will say this for people who are on the fence, who've experienced hair loss, you know the feeling of being in the shower, like you mentioned,
Mhm.
watching your hair fall out. Every hair that falls out, it's like you get this like sting in your heart of like, it's like it feels like you're melting. That's how I felt. I was like, I feel like, you know, those dreams where if you've ever had a dream where all your teeth fall out and it's just
Mhm.
like this really unnerving doom feeling. You wake up and you're like, "Oh my gosh, thank God that was a dream." That's how it feels to have hair loss, except it's not a dream. Your body is, like, wasting and falling before your eyes, and there's, like it feels like such an out of control feeling. And when I shaved my head and I took my shower for the first time, there was no hair that fell. And it was such a healing moment because it is painful to see the physical manifestation of what you're going through. But I think having a bald head, I've enjoyed taking showers and not seeing hair fall on the
Mhm.
floor. I feel like that's been really good for me
Yeah.
and my mental health. So, yeah, I think those are just a few ways.
Well, and it's powerful because you spoke about not being in control, but shaving your head is actually controlling the
Yeah.
situation because it's a way of, you know, like, reclaiming yourself,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
you're the one in charge, you're the one who's driving, not your immune system at this time. So, I guess after shaving your head, how were the reactions from other people? Because now you have I mean, your identity essentially is the same, but it has changed a little bit. So has your femininity, and so has your beauty. Like you just redefined your beauty in that sense. And I think for me, because we have spoken about people with cancer who go through chemo and lose their hair, I feel like for me, like by shaving my head, like I'm so scared to even be if someone were to ask me like what kind of cancer do you have?
Yeah.
Like, and then how do you respond to that? Like, I'm not sick in that way. Like, this is why I have no hair. Like, how do you just navigate those first
Yeah.
days, weeks going out in public without your hair?
It's a great question. I think part of my response is it's not just the first few weeks that you are responding to these things. It's what, like almost 2 years after shaving my head. And I just had a conversation last week of a woman saying, "I'm praying for you." Like, stop. Like, she grabbed my shoulder. She's like, "I'm praying for your treatment."
My
And so, yeah, I think I will speak on that. I think I want to go back just those initial weeks because I think
Mhm.
you're still vulnerable. Like, you just did something crazy and you're putting on this new identity, like you said, it really is like a new reflection to get used to in the mirror.
Mhm.
And I had only told a handful of people. I told obviously my husband was there, my immediate family, my parents, my brother, and a few close friends. I told them that I was going to be doing this and they were very supportive. And I think it just starts with if you are really on the fence and nervous about this, like you don't need to tell everyone, but
Mhm.
find those safe people, find a few people who you know that you can really trust who will not look at you any differently, like
Yeah.
look you in the eyes and not be ashamed to look at you or like not
Your
have
people, your
your
family, like
people.
those
And
yeah.
you know what that means to you. Like
Mhm.
people that you can really be vulnerable with because I think that was so helpful and a good practice round before going into the real world because even though they're your people, it still is hard. Like facing my parents for the first time, like they've known me my whole life, obviously. One person, it felt like, and I felt like I was reintroducing myself. And I felt like I couldn't look them in the eye initially. Like, what do you think? And in I was looking at them like one twitch of their face or one comment that might make me feel like super insecure. Like if I feel like if I would have experienced that, it would have been really hard. But they were just so supportive. You look beautiful. This is great. And my dad ended up shaving his head too for me. And it's those moments that they really built my courage.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I started there with being public about it. And then it did take me some time, I think, to go out bald. It really did. So that's a whole other part of the conversation, but I started with using the wigs in public and then using the head wraps. And then eventually I felt comfortable going out bald. But that was a whole other step to my journey was going out in public without anything.
How did it feel? How was the first time?
And can I remember the first time? I don't even know. I think I was in such a postpartum haze, but
Yeah.
at some point, there was a point, I think it might have been going to church or something, or, um, maybe not, knowing myself, 'cause I think, um, one of the things I always encourage people to do is to practice going out, if you wanna go out bald or go out even just with a wig, to go somewhere where no one knows you.
Grocery store.
Yeah, grocery store or just a park or just in your backyard. Just get used to stepping outside of your home and your immediate comfort zone and see what it feels like, because a lot of emotions might come up. So I imagine I probably did that and then eventually went to church, and yeah, I think that's probably the order of events that I did things, but the reactions I received were good. I think I was scared every single time. I think my day started off in fear, and, by the end of the day, I felt really confident, and that grew more over time, the more I exposed myself to those situations. But yeah, even today, fast forward a few years, like, I feel really accepting of my alopecia journey. I feel, like I said, I'm ripping my wig off everywhere. I still have days where, like, I'm like, "I don't know if today's a bald day." Like, I feel like I wanna cover up, or I'm meeting a new person and they bring something out of me where I'm like, "Maybe I will wear a wig to this meeting." Like,
Yeah.
it just depends, and like I said, that's where honesty comes in. I just try to be true to myself in those moments. Like I did, um, Miss New Jersey USA last year, 2025, and that was something I was on the fence about initially, like, "Do I do this bald or with a wig?" And, I ended up deciding to do it completely bald, which was so life-changing for me, but yeah, I think it's a muscle that you have to keep working out.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like so it kinda just sounds like it's kind of the same thing, like taking a test drive with your wig, the same taking a
Yeah.
test drive
Yeah.
completely bald. What about, like, your kids? Do
Yeah.
they like, I guess I feel like my son's so young right now, and I feel like he doesn't know the difference between bald mommy and mommy with hair, but I'm just, like, curious, like,
Yeah.
when he starts talking to other kids, like, "Why does your mommy's hair look like that today?" You know what I mean? Like, do you
Yes.
your kids, have they normalized it, or do
Yeah.
they share your story with their friends?
Yeah. So I have one daughter and she is in gibberish phase. So is she talking much about it? No. But she totally recognizes, like, she acts different when I'm wearing a wig and when I'm not. I feel like
Really?
she almost prefers me without anything. Like, every time I take off my wig, she's like, "Mama." And it's really
Ah.
cute. And she puts on my wigs um in our bedroom, put on some of my wigs, and I just let her have some fun with it. That's been something I've been thinking about more recently, is, like, as she gets older and she goes to school one day, I think my worst case scenario, like, all the what ifs, like, what if she's ashamed of me? What if she's like, "That's I don't know, like, my mom's bald and that's weird." Like, what if it starts to turn into something like that? And I'm like, "Okay, okay, Liz, that is your fears talking. Let's rewind it. Let's circle back, okay?" I think my response in those situations is so important. If something like that were to ever happen, if a kid were to make a comment to her, or whatever the worst case scenario is for you or for me, at the end of the day, all we can control is ourselves and how we respond. And I think I've already have had so many experiences of kids coming up to me at the playground and asking me, "Auntie, what happened to your hair? Auntie, like, what's under your turban?" Or, "Why are you bald?" Like, "Why are you bald?" And the first few times it happens, it kind of caught me off guard, and if you're not healed fully, it might trigger something in you, like, it might, which is totally natural, I think, like,
Yeah.
might trigger an insecurity, because it is just such a vulnerable state. So I definitely don't judge anyone for having that, but I think a good goal to be at eventually is like, these are kids. Our kids really are so innocent and they're just looking for answers. Like, they are just looking for explanations and they're trying to make sense of the world. And as the person who's being asked the question, the best thing you can do is respond, is give them a good interaction
Mhm.
in that moment of like, I usually say, Auntie's, but my body just doesn't grow hair. And I usually try to compliment them in some way, like, I love your hair. How do you feel about
Yeah.
my turban? Do you like my turban? Or, different things like that. But they're hilarious. It is hilarious conversation because they're so bold and curious.
Yeah.
But I don't take it personally when it comes from a kid. Oh my goodness. And one day my daughter will probably ask me more questions. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Right. That's like my nieces, it's the same thing, we're Polish, so she's like, "Ciocia, where's your pink hair?" You know, like, "Oh, I didn't wear it today." "Oh, okay." So it's just,
Okay.
like, just being honest with them, I think, and it's kinda nice because there's so many kids out there that have alopecia too, and that's not talked about, like children going through that situation. I have a friend whose daughter, just shaved her entire head,
Oh my
and
goodness. Wow.
she's so brave, like, and just is going to school like that, and she's still in elementary school, and I'm like, "You're braver than I am, girl."
She's braver than me. She is braver than me. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about, like, what you were saying is, like, finding your community and everything and support, like, with your family and just kind of discovering your community. Do you feel like that was easy for you? Easier online or in real life? Like, can you share your experience with finding support? Because for me, I think just, like, being online, Instagram or Facebook support groups it was just nice to talk to other people who had the same thing that I was going through, and this is the first time I've actually, like, had a in-depth conversation, so I'm very thankful for you being here today.
Yes.
But, like, how would you say your just sense of community has gone?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely found so much support online. I think that people in real life were like my friends, my family, they did such a great job of just walking me through a really hard time. But I mean, they didn't fully understand what I was going through. They were really trying and they helped me through a lot. But I think it was a whole other level speaking with other people who've had hair loss and knew exactly what was going on without even me saying anything.
Mhm.
The first support group I found, I stumbled across on Facebook. I just typed in alopecia support group and I found a great one. Honestly, I can't believe I didn't mention that so far because that was a huge catalyst for in my healing journey. Just seeing other people being bold, putting to words things that I felt and didn't know how to say, seeing
Mhm.
people at all stages, the longer I was in that group, I felt like, wow, I have grown. Because then you see someone else join the group and you're like, I was there and now I'm in a different spot. And
Yes.
like when I had first joined the group, I was like, I want to be in like where that person is. And then you
Mhm.
look back, you're like, wow, I've come so far. And I can't wait to I always try to, I forget what the saying is. You put one hand behind you and help pull someone else up. You wanna pass on what you've learned and help someone else if you can. So, I've found so much support, and I'm so grateful, so grateful for that group. I remember when I first joined, I thought, "I'm never gonna post in here. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna be a spectator on a fly on the wall because I was still ashamed and embarrassed. But then I became, like, the top contributor. I was always like, "You
Awesome.
go, girl," or like, here's a picture of my worst moment so that you don't feel all alone, but it was just yeah, I love that group.
Is it the alopecia areata?
Yeah, I since then don't have Facebook anymore, so I don't know it off the top of my head.
I think we were in the same one because I was, like, the first one that's exactly what I did. I was just like, "Let's see, is there other people?" And it was the same thing. I was just like I love that you said that because the same way, it's like, I remember being where you were and then wishing I was over here on that spectrum of it, and it was such a like, a huge support for me on that too. Um, uh, yeah, I just love all that.
Yeah.
I wanna zoom out for a minute. So when you look back on your journey with alopecia, what do you feel it has taught you about yourself in terms of, like, what you wish you knew sooner or just, like, giving yourself permission to grieve, like, things like that?
Big question.
Yeah,
Love it.
sorry.
No,
I'm full
I
of the big questions.
oh, I love it. So what do I feel like it's taught me about myself? I think I kind of shared a little bit about it, but I it really has reinforced and given me a backbone in my life. Um, I feel like at the ripe age of 25, again, I'm like, I've learned what it feels like for your body to waste away. And I thought that was a lesson I wouldn't learn until I was like an elderly lady. But
Mhm,
when you go through it prematurely, it makes you, it forced me to confront, okay, where does my worth come from? Um, am I going to let this be the end of the world for me? Because it felt like that. Um, and I was faced with many choices, and I felt like I had to just decide what am I gonna like, is this gonna be my rock bottom, or is this gonna springboard me into resilience? And I felt like overall, it has, like I said, it has been the greatest teacher in helping me become someone that I'm really proud of through this experience. And I don't think I was expecting that. I when my hair first started falling out, I really felt like it was the end of the world. Um, but now I'm just like, I can go through anything. If I can go,
mhm,
I feel like going through this, you know, I've experienced a great loss. I know what it's like to grieve. I've found out who my community is. I'm okay with crying when I feel sad and finding joy in moments where it's hard to find joy. Like, these are big, huge lessons that
mhm,
you can apply in other areas of your life, and I have applied in other areas of my life, and for that, I'm grateful, and I'm always thinking back to the lessons I've learned through alopecia where I'm like, "Okay, Liz, like, this was a rough moment, but remember who you are. You can get through this. You've been through some hard things." You know? And even when I was getting ready to give birth, it is a physical event. A lot of it is mental fortitude you have as a mother. And a lot of the lessons from alopecia I applied there, where I was like, I know what it's like to suffer for an extended period of time and make it on the other side. I'm going to apply that here.
mhm.
Like, I'm going to be okay. So, yeah, I hope that answers maybe a little bit of a question.
Yeah, absolutely, like, basically, there's no right way to
Yeah.
cope. It's just there's always a light at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel, and it's just a journey that we're all on, and we gotta get there. I feel like I've taken so much of your morning so far, so I'm just gonna do a quick, like, fun rapid
Yeah.
fire questions, and then, yeah, we'll just get to closing and go hang out with our kids, right?
Love it. Yep.
Okay. Alright, so wig, no wig?
No way.
No wig. Head wrap or bare scalp?
Head wrap.
Head wrap. Ooh, I like that. Alright, one word to describe alopecia now.
Versatile.
Oh, alright. One thing you love about yourself today.
My resilience.
I love that. What makes you feel powerful?
Being a mom.
I love all your answers so much. I wanna, like, physically hang out with you one of these days.
You know what? I've had such a great time. I've done a couple speaking podcast things, nothing crazy, but this has been one of my most favorite experiences. You're so easy to talk to, and
Good.
it's nice talking with someone who really gets it. So keep
Good.
in touch for sure.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will because I still need to, get some head wrap,
Yes.
advice because 'cause I'm trying to dabble
Yep.
in that too, and
Yep.
I'm just not good. Like, I've been YouTubing how to tie them, and it's just not working out for
You
me.
gotta get the pre-wrapped ones. Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
So that's where I went wrong. I I've been watching, like, the YouTube shorts and these women, like,
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
How
It
did
can
she
be
do
a lot.
that?"
Yeah. I'll send you my favorite, Amazon turbans.
Okay, good. Yeah, that would seriously be
Yep.
great. So I guess, I mean, is there anything else that you think that we didn't cover today that you'd like to just quick discuss or just like any final message for listeners who are feeling alone?
Yeah. I think my final message to people who are listening to this is I imagine maybe you clicked on this because you're curious or you're going through this yourself. But I think no matter what you're going through, but especially if it is alopecia, there's always hope. It might feel like a rock bottom. It might really feel like the end of the world. And I want you to know, like, I felt that. I have been there. There is hope, there is help. Please feel free to reach out. Um, and I just want you to know there is another side. And I know it sounds cliche. You're not gonna know it until you walk through it and experience it yourself. But I do wanna try to convince you that there is another side.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to end today by just taking a moment to acknowledge how meaningful this conversation has been. And I want to take a moment to say just thank you to you, my guest, Liz. I just appreciate you trusting me with your story, and thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, and sharing parts that aren't always like easy to put into words. And conversations like this matter, and your voice matters more than you probably realize. And to everybody listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space for these stories and allowing us to share something so personal with you. Whether alopecia is part of your life or not, your presence means more than you know. And if today's episode resonates with you, I hope it reminded you that you are not alone and that there is no right or wrong way to move through your own journey. Your experience is valid, your feelings are valid, and you don't owe anyone comfort at the expense of your own truth. And, as always, guys, take care of yourself, be gentle with your body. Thank you for letting us share our stories with you, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The facts are fuzzy. Our stories and opinions are just that, stories and opinions, not meant to be taken as professional advice.